Hi BookTube, I'm here today with currently reading. I just thought I'd update you on the books I'm currently reading. Yeah, there's been a few changes to my reading. I had a few DNFs, but not like hard DNFs, not like I hate these books, I never want to read them, but more like, well, let me explain. So the ebook I was reading for my choice for an Indigenous author was Braiding Sweetgrass, but for some reason I just kept forgetting I was reading it and wasn't feeling called to it. I don't know if part of that was because it's on the ebook reader and I wasn't taking that with me to the different reading locations, or I was expecting a bit more science, and it's a bit more I want to say like softer. Like, it's not about science, it's more about relating and I felt it was very on the surface level, ways of relating Indigenous life to science and botany and stuff like that. Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. So it's not bad, but it's just not what I was expecting, so I wasn't feeling called to it. So I decided to set it aside for now. So I'm not feeling compelled to read it. I'm not going to pick it up, right? So I decided instead to pick up this book by an Indigenous author, This Accident of Being Lost. That's why I couldn't find it on Goodreads, because I was putting The Accident of Being Lost. But it's This Accident of Being Lost by Leanne, Betasamosake, Simpson, which I think is a collection of poetry and short stories and other things. Songs and stories. There we go. Yeah, I'm just getting to the first page. Contents. There we go. And it's a nice short book because we're nearing the end of the month, so I don't want to pick up a 500-page book, and even though I do have some hefty books here. Yeah, I finished my Fables comic. I finished Their Eyes Were Watching God. I finally finished Queen of the Damned, which was left over from March. I said I finished it in March because I thought when I filmed my TBR that I'd be able to finish the last 100 or so pages in 2 days, but I couldn't. I finished This Savvy Convert's Guide to Choosing Your Own Religion. We'll talk about all those at another time. And I've picked up a few books. I see a book here that I'm currently reading that I don't have with me, and that's Mirror Mirror. I'll try and put an image here. It's a Stargate Atlantis book. It's actually very good. It's about this artificial intelligence on Atlantis, and it's a true artificial intelligence, offers the Atlantis team this device that will allow them to stop the timeline of the Aratus bug evolving into the Wraith, which are the big huge enemies of the Atlantis planet. Things go terribly wrong, and the universe is now split into the multiverses, and we have different versions of our different team members, and it's really cool. In different timelines, like we go back in time, we go forward in time. But it's so cool. It's so well done. I'm really enjoying it. Oh, another book I DNF'd. I was going to talk about that next, but I got distracted. Is Severance by Ling Ma, and that was because I live in southern Ontario, and Ontario in general, and the pandemic is completely out of control here. We're hitting like 5,000 cases a day. They're projecting that we're going to get into like 18,000 cases a day. Our ICUs are overwhelmed. The vaccine rollout is pathetic. Yeah, it's totally being mishandled. Severance was about a pandemic, and right at the beginning I was like, I can't right now think about how bad this can be. Right, so I picked up another book by an Asian author. And I got Inside Out and Back Again by, I really should have looked up how to pronounce the names before doing this, shouldn't I have? I want to say Thanhha. And this is semi-autobiographical, middle grade novel about a girl. It's Vietnam after the US pulled out, so there's still the war going on, and her family escaping to the United States. And it's all told in verse, and it's very well done. Here, let me share one of my favorite lines, my last favorite line here. Oh yeah, okay, this part is really sad. They're talking about things that they had to leave behind. And it's photographs. Every tet at the zoo. Father in his youth, mother in her youth, baby pictures, where you can't tell whose bottom is exposed for all the world to see. Mother chooses 10 and burns the rest. Yeah. There's that one. I really should be reading this. I have like 300 pages left in this Malazan book, The Fallen, but at this moment I need a little break. I'm not one of those people who can just like read Malazan one after the other, after the other, after the other. I like to take breaks between them because there's a lot going on in the books. And I love them. Don't get me wrong, like this series is amazing and it's one of my all-time favorite series and this book is amazing. I just sometimes need something a little easier to read, right? A book I really am enjoying is Human Factor by Greene. And this is a book that he wrote later in his life. And can I just tell you, before I even talk about the book, Everyman's Library, this edition is so nice. I love hardcovers. And sometimes I take the dust jacket off, but this one, the dust jacket, it fits perfectly. Like it's not too big, it's not too small, it's not pulling. And the book, even though I'm in the middle, when I'm reading it, it lies almost perfectly flat. Like the pages, I don't need to use my hands. I can just leave it like that and it will stay. I can read the pages. Oh, it's such a joy to read. And then the pages are nice and smooth. Yeah, just the physical act of reading this book is enjoyable. But yeah, this is a spy book, but it's not like your typical James Bond type of spy. It's Greene had actual experience working for, where does it say? It was MI5, I believe, or something. And it's very much like a desk job, kind of boring in relation to James Bond type stuff. So it's about a man working in that, and there is a bit of drama going on because a leak has been happened and they're talking about exposing the leak, but it's not like, you know, running around chasing bad guys with like, guns and stuff like that. It's very much like getting your secretary to pass a message on to your boss and that kind of stuff. It's very good though. Like the human factor, like the actual people that you're learning about. It's like a little slice of life. And then I'm reading Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. I just realized that rhymes. And I took the dust jacket off this because even though Disney and Star Wars have mega bucks, they can't get a dust jacket that fits properly. Anyways, yeah, this is interesting. So far, the origin story of Thrawn, the blue skinned, red-eyed villain from his original series, Heir to the Empire, which I adored. I really like that, so I want to read more about Thrawn because he's my favorite villain. There's a little bit of a confusing spot where they talk about Thrawn meeting Anakin Skywalker, but it's not in the book. It took place in something else. So I read them out of order, and that just... We're not going to talk about how the canon works now. It's just not. And Inkheart is another book that I'm reading. Yeah, it wasn't on my April TBR. I was going to read the last book, but I didn't remember enough from the second book. And I figured I might as well just go back and read the first book to get reacquainted with everything. And I'm about halfway through that now as well. My audiobook is amazing. It is Silver Sword and Stone, 3 Crucibles in Latin American History is the subtitle, by Marie Arana. And it's... See, the way I prefer history to be told is by theme as opposed to linearly. I like it, you know, to be talking about one specific thing and going through all of history talking about that one specific thing and then moving on to something else. And she does that. So Silver is talking about, you know, wealth extraction from Latin America, and she talks, it's not just about post-contact. She's also talking about all the different indigenous empires that were there before as well, and their relationships to these different crucibles, she calls them. And then she relates it to like one particular contemporary person. So she talks about Silver in the first one, and her contemporary person is a miner. In the second one, it's called Sword, which is obviously about violence, and she talks not just about you know, post-contact again, she talks about pre-contact civilizations as well. And the last one is Sword, which is religion, because in I believe it was the Aztec religion she's talking about. Stones play a very special part in religious worship. They believe they're almost like a transmutation. So they believe that souls can live in rocks, like a person's soul can travel into a rock. So if you put the rock over the grave, the person's soul can live on, and you can talk to that rock and get advice, or that stone, sorry, and get advice. And you put like 3 stones in the corner of your house to kind of hold on to it, right? And then, of course, talking about religion, and we just got to the part where she's talking about liberation theology, which is really interesting to me. Yeah, so, and she's relating that to a modern day Jesuit, and the sword one, she was relating it to a man in Cuba who witnessed a lot of violence as a child, and then was sent over to fight in Angola, and then came over and was sent by Castro to the United States, like with a bunch of other, I don't know if you call them refugees, because, well, I guess so, they were seeking refuge away from Cuba, but they were sent by the government. Yeah, and what happened there, I don't want to go into it, but it's a big, huge, long spiel I'd get into. But yeah, it's really interesting. I only have like 2.5 hours left, so that will be cool. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm going to share a little bit of a book haul. I did post a book haul not too long ago, but I got more books since then, so I'm just going to go grab the books and I'll be right back. Okay, so here are the books I think were not included in my book haul. I got Legend of the Future by Augustine de Rojas, Cuban science fiction classic. Yeah, the first Cuban science fiction to be translated into English. Cool. I really like that cover. It was really very much a cover by there. Then, this one I'm really interested in. 1,000 Deaths Plus One by Sergio Ramirez. And this is about the Nicaraguan photographer Juan Castellan. I don't know, I went to Nicaragua and we saw a place that he was supposed to have photographed and such, but yeah, I was really interested to hear that. Then I got The Black Cathedral by Marcial Gala, and this again is a Cuban. And it's about the Stewart family, and the father thinks he's on a mission from God to build a massive temple. Let's look those on covers. Those are really cool. I just really like that cover. And then we got Mario Vargas Llosa, The Time of the Hero, and this is actually quoted a lot in Silver Sword and Stone. This is one of the major classics in Peru. Maria Arana is Peruvian too, so the novel set in the Ignacio Prada Military Academy in Lima, where a group of cadets attempt to break out of the vicious round of sadistic ragging, military discipline, confinement, and boredom. But their pranks set off a cycle of betrayal, murder, and revenge, which jeopardizes the entire military hierarchy. And lastly, I got this really cool one called Movies and Other Things by Shea Serrano, and illustrated by Arturo Torres, with a foreword by John Leguizamo, who's an actor, I believe. But it's really cool. It asks silly questions about movies, and as I go to a whole bunch of sections that don't have any illustrations, and there's different illustrations and stuff. So like some of the questions are, I wonder if there's a table of contents. I didn't even look. Yes. Okay. So, is this movie better, the same, or the worse with Rock in it? Did Denzel's race forward football camp work or not? Who's in the Regina George circle of friends? Can we talk about Selena for a minute? Who's in the perfect heist movie crew? And do you want to read an essay about Friday? So yeah, that sounds really cool. So there we go. That's my currently reading and a little book hauler. So let me know what you're currently enjoying, and thank you for watching.